Good evening and welcome to IITW Radio. Hello, Jolie, Fort Gates. Everybody else is joining in. Tonight we have a special guest in the studio. I'll introduce him here in just a second. But today is the last day. You have till midnight tonight to sign up for the Rebuild Florida. If you have not signed up, if you have a house that was damaged during Hurricane Irma, and it's over 5 years old, you stand a chance of getting a complete new house. If your damage is so much, if they can't repair it. If you have a brick and mortar home, you can get all the repairs done. It will not cost you a single cent. Make sure you go type in, Chris will put the link up in just a second, but it's rebuildflorida.gov. There's the information there. If you don't have it before midnight, or tell your friends about it, you can go back on YouTube or on the Putman Way or IITW Radio on Facebook. There's a bunch of places you can pull it up. But the number is 844-833-1010, 844-833-1010. That's rebuildflorida.gov. And then if you go to the IITW Radio Facebook page, or no, what did they send it to on their email? To send it to, but they've only got till midnight. Is your mic on?
IITW Radio. Rebuild@gmail.com. Did I catch it?
Not the first part.
Okay, it's IITW Radio, rebuild@gmail.com.
And that's for Miss Helen Hayes.
Yes.
And we have Zach in the studio. I see we already put his picture up.
Good evening, Zach.
Zach's a big man. How you doing, Zach?
Good. How about yourself?
This is, I don't know, they call you officer or FHP or?
Trooper.
Trooper. I should have known that. That's Trooper Zach from Florida Highway Patrol. He's a big man. If you guys try to run from him, he will chase you down. And I hope he tases you. Nah, he don't do any of that. He's a nice guy. One of the nicest, no doubt my favorite Florida Highway Patrolman. So, how you doing tonight?
Not bad, thank you.
So, you're all in uniform and everything. When I walked in the studio, you were already standing in there and you scared the daylights out of me. I was like, no, I'm not getting arrested. So, how long you been with FHP?
Been with the Florida Highway Patrol for over 6 years now.
6 years?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Do we need to move his mic closer?
No, it's fine. It's just
Okay.
a little bit. We're good. That's why I was doing it silently, so you wouldn't break the illusion.
Yeah, I'm getting a little bit of feedback from her, so if you can kill her mic for just a second. There we go. Yeah, that's perfect. Say hi, Chris. There's the hand. Chris always puts his hand up at night. He doesn't ever put his face on. Say hi, Hobbit.
Hi, how's it going, everybody tonight?
So you've been how long? How long have you been with FHP?
Over 6 years now.
6 years. What's your title over there?
Trooper.
Trooper. I know for a while you were investigating, right, or lead investigator, or.
I was a corporal for a short time doing traffic homicide investigations, but I'm back on the road now, where I like to be.
Yeah, I don't blame you. I don't like. I've been to some of the wrecks that you've had to cover there, and wrecks are just a nasty thing. People don't understand. I mean, the things that you guys see that I don't get to see a lot of, but I still see my fair share. But you don't understand what kind of stuff this man has seen. I'm sure it's a lot of stuff that keeps you up at night, and especially with the kids and the elderly. Well, not so much the elderly, but the kids are what always traumatize me. Let me do my shout outs real quick. Angie, hello. Joey, I called you today. Joey, call me. Christopher, Jolie, I already said Fort Gates. I'll get to the rest of you guys and gals in a little bit. So, what made you want to become a highway patrolman?
I'd always been interested in law enforcement, and I actually worked for Publix for 5 years, and I've retired from there and used the retirement to get into the police academy, do what I wanted to do.
So did you go to the regular local police, and then you made a step up into the Florida Highway Patrol, or?
So there's a couple ways you can get into the Florida Highway Patrol. You can either get your certificate at another training academy. In my case, I went to St. Johns River State College, and then you can do a crossover course. Or the Florida Highway Patrol also offers the option they'll pay for your whole basic recruitment, put you through the academy, room and board to do that, and then you'll join the crossover recruits and finish up.
Now, how long does it take you to say, well, I'm too old, but say one of our audience members wants to hear, hello, Christopher. He said, best trooper right there. I don't know if you know Christopher Davis or not, but he said, best trooper right there.
Hey, Chris, thank you.
So, say somebody on here is watching tonight and they want to get to be a Florida Highway Patrol. How long does it take them, and what are the steps that they need to? You said go to St. John's, or
Well, you're looking at wherever you go, you're going to spend about over 700 hours getting your basic law enforcement certificate. And that's to be a law enforcement officer anywhere. And what Florida Highway Patrol does is, regardless of whether you're a crossover or start with the basic, you do a couple months afterwards where you're getting all your extra certificates. That a lot of these guys get hired and they have to go and try and get them when they can. We offer that right off the bat. You're going to get your radar certificate, your breath test operator certification, and all that good stuff. And you come out of the academy ready to go.
so how long does it take from start to finish?
There's a few different options, but if you do the full thing, you're probably looking at 7 months.
7
And
months.
if you're doing the crossover, you're looking more towards 2 months. Don't quote me on the exact numbers.
No, it's all right. Don't quote me on anything I say. I'll get in trouble. So, and what's the age limits like? They got to be, is it 18, or with the new gun laws now, you have to be 21 to carry a gun? Is it 21 now, or do they keep it still at 18?
The minimum age is still 19 years old.
Okay. So at 19, man, they better be out of high school.
Well, they would like that high school diploma. And if anybody's got any questions, wants to see the requirements, our website is beatrooper.com.
Okay.
They can go to that website, sign up. We have some openings locally.
I guess that's the website right there.
Yes, sir, it is.
These guys are good. They have it up before we even know, and we never rehearsed any of this before we came in here. So, so it's Be a Trooper.
Yes, sir. We got some vacancies locally and also some of the nearby surrounding area. The residence policy is you can live within 40 miles of your city of assignment. So somebody living in, say, this Crescent City area could potentially work in Volusia. There's a lot of vacancies there. We got some vacancies in the Gainesville area. And like I said, there's only a couple in this area right now. We do have some vacancies locally.
Okay. Yeah, I was just reading some of the stuff on here. Scroll it back up, Chris.
What's up?
It says up to 1,500, 1,560 annually. Uniform allowance is 13. So they give you a uniform allowance as well. And then it says quick response force. Oh, you guys got all different pay rates for different stuff. So that's what you were talking about your certification.
Well, actually, what that is when you're in the academy, you're going to be making the $38,000 a year, but they're paying your room and board at the facility up in it's actually Gadsden County.
Ashley says, so why do you have to pay? Or so you have to pay to be a cop, and then she said, why do you have to pay?
Well, if you
Is
go
that
to
something
the
that's reimbursed as well, or?
No, if you go to the Florida Highway Patrol and you do the whole academy through them, you don't have to pay a thing. The Florida Highway Patrol will pay your salary while you go through and put you through the school.
Oh, that's cool. So, Ashley, if you want to work for the Florida Highway Patrol, they'll take care of all that. That sounds like a good deal. Now, a lot of people, and I know the difference, but I'll get you to explain it to them. The difference between the local cops, the sheriffs, and then the Florida Highway Patrol.
Well, the Florida Highway Patrol, along with the other state agencies, have statewide jurisdiction. And, of course, can't be across the state, so we break that up into troops and then districts. The area up here is Troop G. It covers from Nassau County all the way down to Flagler County. Putnam's the western border on this end, and then the other western counties would be Baker, Union, and Bradford counties. And our district in this area for Palaca is St. John's, Putnam, and Flagler, and our office is off of State Road 16. And what we cover is there's different agreements, different areas, but we primarily do the interstate and state highways. But as the local agencies request, we'll go down county roads, local roads, wherever the crashes are at. And that's our primary function, is to take care of traffic crashes until such a time an event such as a hurricane, natural disaster occurs, then we can pull troopers from across the state to deal with that event.
Hello, Kimmy, Desiree. Ariel wrote in and says, with the change in gun laws and the age to carry, how does that affect becoming a trooper, etc.?
It does not. You were issued a firearm through the agency. Our hiring is still at 19 years old. If you get through the training, get issued the firearm through the agency, you're good to go.
So they can still use a firearm at 19.
It's being issued to them. The gun laws concern the purchase of.
Okay. Now, when they're off duty, do they still get to carry the gun, or is this with the new laws? Do they have to leave it like at the station, or is that just only when they're on duty, or is that a concealed permit for 24/7?
They merely have to follow our agency policy on it, which is you have to have your credentials and your handcuffs with you, and then you can carry the firearm in a concealed fashion.
Okay.
Within the state of Florida.
Well, that's not too bad. I mean, for the younger people that are still, I mean, to me, and we won't get into it tonight, but I've had tons and tons of people that are 18, 19, 20 call in and write in and say, it's a bunch of crap that they violated their constitutional rights, but they can still get it through the law enforcement agencies. Now, I've heard sometimes on the radio, like with the local police, they're only allowed to serve in city limits, right? So if they're chasing somebody, they have to stop at city limits.
And that is not correct. There's something called fresh pursuit. If they initiate a traffic stop or investigation in the city and it immediately goes into the county, they can take care of it. But for the most part, their jurisdiction does end at the city limits.
Now, can the local cops, if say there's a high-speed pursuit or chase, and they get outside of, say, Palaca Police Department, for example, and all of a sudden they get to the county line, do they have to stop?
By statute, they do not, but you would have to ask them what their policies and procedures are on that.
Okay, because I hear a lot of times, I mean, here in the last few months, there's been kids that have stolen cars down in Volusia County, and then I hear them say, well, have Putnam County SO pick them up at the line, and then they'll pick them up, and then they'll have Clay County pick them up. So I didn't know if it was something they could still pursue them, because I thought you had to, hit the brakes and stop at the state, at the line.
You don't have to, but obviously the ideal thing would be to pass it off both out of courtesy and because those officers are more familiar with the roadways in that area.
Now, now say you're up in Jacksonville and you're chasing somebody and all of a sudden they're running over into Georgia. Under law, can you still pursue them into Georgia, or do you have to just stop it right there? Or can Georgia...
Statute allows for it, but again, every agency has their policy. We have a policy on what we have to do.
Okay. Now, I got a question. Somebody had asked me this a few days ago when I told them you were going to be on here. They said the stop stick thing. When you guys are throwing out the stop sticks, how long do you have to train for that? Because some of the guys you see, they'll sling them out there, and then, and then it's like they go out perfect every time. Some of them roll them out, some of them sling them out. Is there like a course that you have to take for that?
No, there's not. We actually don't use the stop sticks in this area. I know the sheriff's office does, and their training's usually a couple hours out of the day.
Do you have any funny stories you can share with us?
I do, and my funniest one is here locally in South Putnam, out in Satsuma area. It was back when it was a 2-lane road before you get to the Duns Creek Bridge. Had one speeding. It was real dark at night, and I walk up to the driver's side and said, "I'm Trooper Stevens, Florida Highway Patrol. The reason I stopped is," I told him Speedy was going, and I could smell the alcohol. I thought I had me a good one. And he just smiled and says, "I'm not driving." I was like, "Oh yeah, this is gonna be an easy one here. He don't even know he's driving." Well, then the dome light comes on inside the vehicle, and the gentleman on the right side of the car says, "Sir, this is a mail truck. We took the stickers off to go out to eating all tonight, and I'm the designated driver. And they all start laughing, and me with them.
That's pretty funny. I have seen the mail trucks and stuff. It wasn't like a regular mail truck, right?
No, it's one of the private carriers.
One of the private
Yes,
ones?
sir.
Yeah, I told you the story about the one cop that he was speeding down, or a guy was speeding down 95 in a Corvette, and highway patrolman pulled him over and told him, if you can give me a good excuse on why I shouldn't give you a ticket because I'm getting ready to get off work here, then I'll go ahead and I'll let you go. And he goes, well, sir, several years ago my wife ran off with a Florida highway patrolman, and I thought you were bringing her back. So, now, your job is, I mean, people look at Florida Highway Patrol and they don't think it's a very dangerous job, but they have no idea. I mean, that's pretty dangerous. You guys get just as much criminals, and you probably get a lot more drug trafficking and stuff with, you know, people speeding up and down 95 and all over the place. Is that the case, or?
Well, what I love about the Florida Highway Patrol is, unlike being at a local agency where you're assigned to certain neighborhoods and you're used to who the people are you're dealing with and what to expect out of that area, with the Florida Highway Patrol, what's great is you're dealing with everybody from all walks of life, from all over Florida, the nation, and other countries, especially because we have the St. Augustine area in our district. You're meeting people from all over, so a lot of times you're helping and stopping your everyday people. But with that, there's also the risk you might be stopping the wrong one who's that wanted criminal wants to take you out. And one of the biggest dangers in this job, as you pointed out, the interstate. Those cars are going at least 70 miles per hour. Anybody that's driven knows they're doing more, and it happens quick. So you have to keep your head on a swivel, make sure nobody comes over and hits you on the side of the road.
Yeah, that's the other thing too. People need to slow down when they're coming past you guys. I know when I was in law enforcement in the early 80s, and I wouldn't pull people over on the side of the road because, especially at night, because it was like moths to the light.
Well, we also, the move over law, we've been having a lot of issues with this, and a lot of questions too. So if you have a minute, I'd like to go over that.
Do you know Michael Wells?
I do.
He said, "Is that Kyle Busch?"
I wish I could drive his car.
I saw you do look an awful lot like Kyle Busch. I saw a picture. I don't know if it was your wife that put it up or somebody put it up with a picture of you with Kyle Busch. Did you see that yet?
I have. His reps even said something when I went to the Daytona races working a detail.
Oh man, let me go with you next time. I'll say that this is Kyle Busch. I'm getting in here. We gotta have people do $5 an autograph. So, but so I know a lot of people don't understand that. You know, just like the sheriff's office and stuff, you guys are family people. I mean, I know you're married. I don't know if you have kids or not. You know, I've never been out to dinner with you and your wife or anything, but you guys, what did Gerald say? Gerald said, I don't know if you know Gerald, he said, I know him, he comes from great folks. I don't know who, do we have a last name on Gerald? What is it?
Arant. A-R-A-N-T.
Orange.
What?
A-R-A-N-T.
Arant? Do you know Gerald Arant?
I grew up in Putnam County, so I'm sure I do.
Okay. Terry Robertson, Beverly said, Zach, an awesome guy. Know him since his Publix days.
They were actually, their family helped me get into law enforcement, but that's a story in itself. So thank y'all.
Are you sure you didn't want to tell it? But no, you guys are. It's not like you guys are gun-toting, you know, thugs. Is what a lot of people. And I know we're not going to get into the whole cops' lives matter and stuff, and you know, and all the stuff that goes on that bashes police and men in uniform. But you guys take up quite a bit of beating, and you really don't deserve it because you're not out there to shoot people. You know, you're not out there like when Joe Wells was in here, and Joe had made a comment. I've never heard anybody. Well, it wasn't Joe; it was another officer, and he said, "I've never heard a comment where a cop said they wanted to wake up in the morning and go out and shoot somebody, whether they were black, Hispanic, white, or whatever." You guys try your best not to do that,
That's correct.
Yeah. What did Everly say? Zach,
No. That's the old comment. I
Okay.
didn't read that one. That's why I saw.
Arrow. Oh, okay. She said, Arrow wrote in and said, what is the move over law?
So the move over law, if you have a 4-lane highway, so you have 2 lanes going the direction you're going, and you see a law enforcement officer, a fire truck, emergency vehicle, it also includes tow trucks and utility vehicles on the side of the road, you are required to move over. It's not the half swerve some people try to do. It is you have to completely vacate that lane. If there's somebody there to where you cannot do so, you're required to slow down to 20 miles per hour below the posted speed limit. If it's a 2-lane road, you have to slow down just to the 20 miles per hour under the posted speed limit.
Okay. So I hope that
And that's
answers your question.
the outside lane. When you're on a 4-lane road, you have to vacate that outside lane because the officer would probably be on the shoulder, or if they're on the inside, you'd have to vacate it to the right-hand lane. Whatever side they're on, you need to get away from.
Well, I know there's a lot of highway patrol that get hit by vehicles. We just had one, 2 months ago? The guy lost his life. I think it was up in Lake City or Tallahassee, someplace in Florida, where he was on the side of the road giving it, had somebody pulled over and a car plowed into him. How often does that happen? You guys get your cars hit?
It happens a lot, and we've even had quite a few in our district in St. Johns County.
So is there, besides just, is it because people are idiots, or, they just don't know the law, or, what would be the thing leading up to that? Drinking, or is it just they're not paying attention, or what's the biggest thing on it?
Sometimes we never know. There is an option now report for unknown, because if somebody doesn't see them on their phones doing it, they don't admit it to us, we might suspect it, but unless we get to the point where we can check their phones, we might not know. Times alcohol could be a factor. That's never a good thing to do. But there's a lot of reasons. People not paying attention, and that's not something you can prove doing an investigation. But I do believe that's part of the reason people are so focused on what they're thinking about, or their phones, or their phone conversation.
Yeah, Flint just joined in. You know Flint? Brady?
I do.
Flint,
Good man there.
Flint is awesome. I covered him, 4 or 5, maybe 6 years ago. Now, for you guys and gals out there that are criminals that want to run from this guy, I would not suggest it. Flint's like, was he Iron Man, triathlon? I don't know if you knew any of that. He was getting ready to go to Hawaii or someplace, and he was riding his bike training down 309 and got a mirror in the back, and the guy's so tough, he still went after him. Or he still went out and did he bikes like a million miles, has to swim 100,000 miles, and then does all this other stuff in it. The guy's just ripping into shape. He was in the Navy, and now he's with the Sheriff's Department. Let's see. Ariel wrote in a question about intersections, but thank you, Flint, for your service. I'd love to do another interview with you, Flint, if you want to come on the air one night, or I'll catch you on the side of the road. Ariel wrote in a question about intersections. Sounds stupid, but I see it happen all the time, and I've had it happen to me. When you're waiting at a light and it turns yellow, and you have already eased into the intersection to make a turn. Oh, there you go. Thank you. Chris had to swell it up for me. I'm sitting there squinting when these lights reflect back in my bifocals here. It says, where do we go here? What do you do if the light turns red and you are partially in the intersection? Should I stay or go? I was taught that if you are blocking the intersection, you are supposed to go through, yet people will almost take you out. Also, but you want to go ahead and read that one or answer that one, and then...
I'm not seeing it on my screen.
Oh, no, it's on mine. That's why I have to read it to you.
When you're at an intersection, you're supposed to stop at the stop bar and not be in that position in the first place. If you do enter the intersection and other traffic gets the green light, then there is a statute for obstruction of traffic. That would be a violation as well.
Well, I know some of the lights in Palaca, I've run into 2 lights, and I've questioned them a couple times. Those things change quick. especially when they had the cameras up there on that one. As you go over the bridge, as you're coming over the bridge, you know, you've got a truck in front of you, and say the truck's in front of you, and all of a sudden it's out there. I mean, you stop. You try to stop in time, or are you better to go through it, or to try to hold back from it? I think that's what she's trying to say there. I mean, which is more dangerous, to go ahead and shoot through it, or?
Well, if you're trying to shoot through it and somebody else is coming, that's going to be a bad day. You also got to take into account weather and things like that. That's why the good part about a law enforcement officer observing a violation is they get to determine all these factors, whereas a red light camera takes out that human element, just catches the violation.
She said also, Aaron says also before 17 was widened, people would often run people off the side of the road trying to race instead of slowing down to get to the merge. Who is the person in the right way? Who is the person in the right of way, and what is the proper thing to do when you are being pushed off the road in that type of situation?
Okay, if you're coming up to a merge and you're in the lane that is ending, you have to yield to the traffic that's in the 3-lane.
Hello, Christine Barber. Catherine Lindsay Harper, do you know her? She said ice cream Zach Stevens.
Yes, sir.
I don't know what ice cream means, but maybe there's a bet you had or something.
Typically a frozen dairy treat.
Candy wrote, thank you for your service and for putting your life on the line every day. God bless you. Yeah, I've written, and Ariel said thank you. I've written a lot of articles about officers, and in the news we see, you know, Fox, CNN, NBC, CBS, all of them. There's always a bunch of idiots out there that are always, you know, cops fry them like bacon and all this stuff, and shoot cops, and there's a lot of stuff. We have some of the best readers and listeners on between the Putman Way and IITW radio. I've never had, well, I had one person a couple years ago, and I canned that person. But everybody that seems to listen to the radio station or read the articles, all love you guys, and they all thank you for your service. And anybody wants to write in here and tell them thank you for his service, I'm sure he'd like to hear it, because with everything they see on TV, I'm sure you guys do not get near enough recognition that's positive.
No, we don't do it for the recognition.
Yeah, but it's got to be nice to hear it, you know, from time to time, instead of, you know, let's see, Denise Garcia wrote, Zach, awesome guy, thank you for all you do. Stay safe. Ariel said, have you always wanted to join the FHP, and thank you for your service and dedication to our community. She was asking if you've always wanted to, she said, have you always wanted to join the FHP?
Well, when I was a new guy just getting out of the academy, I was wanting to join wherever I could get on at, but I was very fortunate, very blessed to get on with FHP, and even my first assignment was here in Putnam County, where I'm from. That was amazing. A lot of people get that a question a lot during recruiting. Everybody thinks they're going to Miami. That's not the case nowadays. They found a good way to keep retentions, try to keep people closer to home, and the areas of need are actually a little further north. We need people a lot in the Panhandle, Tampa, Orlando area nowadays.
So you're from this area and you grew up in this area?
I did.
Oh, that's, how cool is that?
It's very cool.
Terry Beverly said, we love you and thank you. Stay safe.
For me, it has a personal touch when you see the fatalities on the road and people driving bad. That could affect my family.
James wrote in and said, what do you feel is the most dangerous section of the road in Putnam County and that has the most accidents? That's a good question.
Well, we actually talked about this recently, and it's kind of scattered where the bad accidents happen at, and we're still trying to pinpoint where and why. We do have something called a Arrive Alive campaign, and they have identified some of these areas, and quite a bit of it's on US 17 and also on State Road 20 and some of 100.
Yeah, I know that Silver Lake Drive out there has a lot of accidents there as well, and 19 and 100. right here in San Mateo. I can't tell you how many wrecks I went to, but yeah, I guess that would be true. Diane Farnsworth wrote, "Stay safe." Jolie says that Jolie's one of our listeners. She's the first one on every night. She says, "Thank you for yours as well and your fellow troopers for their service." Sheila M. Beck wrote, "When are they going to put a light at Barden Road?"
Well, that goes beyond our my pay grade there. That's something that involves Department of Transportation doing studies and analysis, and they would use our crash reports and things for that.
She said Barden Road in 100 is the most dangerous, I guess.
Yeah, I had a close call there recently. It's pretty sketchy.
Ariana, this is a good question now. Ariana wrote in and says, "Do they have a boot camp or summer camp for kids 12 and up for learning to be a trooper?"
We do not, but if you turn 19, we do.
Okay. Let's see. Donald Beverly writes, "What is the most?" Let's see. Okay, that's what is the most dangerous in St. John's? Do you see Cracker Swamp and 207 being one of those spots?
Well, that's on the Putnam County side. We do have a lot of traffic crashes there, and they have taken some steps, putting some flashing lights there to try and mitigate that. There's just a lot of traffic and cross traffic in that area.
Diane wrote, "Yeah, he is a very good trooper." Yeah, and I see you at a lot of these accidents and stuff. Now, you're just talking about people asking about where's the most dangerous spot in Putnam County, and I agree with you. It'd be hard for me to break down, and I keep a list of them. I mean, 207 Cracker Swamp Road, there's always accidents there. At 207 and 17, I mean, it seems like there's pockets that have the same wrecks all the time. But where she was talking about on Barden Road, that does seem to be a problem now. If they wanted to have a light commission out there, what are the proper steps? Do you know?
You contact your county commissioners and, of course, Department of Transportation. They also have a traffic safety team. They look at the traffic complaints that come in, and they take it very seriously and look at what options they have, what's going on in that area.
So if we've got enough people, I guess, let's see, is that another one? No, that's the same one. So I guess the best way to do is for them to get all their neighbors and sign a piece of paper and go up and hand it to Press Tompkins, and then go over to DOT and just get a bunch of people that's in their neighborhood to write letters, I guess.
I didn't have the link with me. Wasn't expecting that question, but there is a traffic safety team where you can forward your complaints to, and they review these every month and have a meeting about them and what they can do.
Okay, Angela wrote in and says, Horse Landing and Highway 17 has a lot. Yeah, they do. Matter of fact, that strip that's between Hoot Owl Ridge from Dunn's Creek Bridge right up to the Speedway, there's actually right there at Horse Landing, there's always between Horse Landing and where what's the road that cuts off in Satsuma there on the curve?
East Buffalo Bluff Road?
Yeah, Buffalo Bluff Road. Thank you. I couldn't remember it. There's always a lot of wrecks. I mean, I can't tell you how many I've covered from there. Fatalities, accidents. I know that guardrail down there has been slammed 4 or 5 times. One of my friend's sons actually fell asleep there coming on the way back from Kangaroo, working double shifts, and fell asleep. What's the best thing? And that's another one. What was the next one there? Or did we already answer that one?
We haven't. This one hasn't been read yet.
Let's see. She wrote, Gator DeLoach, I know, is a hardworking on the crime and drugs. Do you think that Putnam County will ever get cleaned up in that area, drug and crime wise?
Well, we are all doing the best we can, but I'm only one person. My troopers that work with me, they're their own person. We do everything we can in our power in a day to get it done, but there's only so much you can do.
Well, also, you're not out there just writing tickets either. I mean, if there's a wreck that happens and it's a hit and run, or if it's a fatality and it's a hit and run, you have investigations that you have to do yourself, right, to try to solve those crimes.
Oh, correct. Collection of evidence. There's some investigations that can take a very long time and hours to do, and in that time period, you're off the road from doing the proactive enforcement. Absolutely.
So you guys have to be detectives as well as, you know, writing tickets and I busted you a couple times on stuff. And I got to clear this up right now. I have busted you helping people change their tires on several occasions. What's up with that? I thought you guys are supposed to be mean and all this stuff and tough guys, but I've seen you helping on 207. I passed you not long ago. You were helping some lady change her tire over there.
Well, contrary to some people's belief, it's not all about writing tickets. It's about helping people, getting them fuel, getting them where they're going, getting them off the road.
Let's see. Ariana wrote, when at the scene of an accident, is it true that FHP is more of an investigator, or is that all officers in charge? Some people would say judge and jury, ?
Oh, we're never judge and jury. Our cases do have the ability to go to court and be heard by the judge and possibly a jury, depending on what kind of charge it is. But if we have what we need to issue a charge, we do have to issue that charge.
Well, that's what we were just talking about as well, is that like with the sheriff's department, regular police departments and stuff, when they have officers that are involved, that's usually the end of their thing, and then the detective picks up, but not on your end. You still have to do the detective work. I know there's been a few cases where there's been hit and runs, or we're not going to talk about them, and then you've actually had to solve those, and then other ones where, you know, people have gotten killed, and then somebody takes off like an idiot, and then you guys have to figure out who did it, you know, what color the vehicle was. I mean, do you bag the stuff up and send it? Do you like you see on CSI, and you have to? I remember reading an article not long ago about one of the highway patrolmen that had actually gotten a paint chip, and then he found a little piece of a light. I believe it was over on 75, and it was a guy all the way up in Wisconsin, but they were able to track down the paint chip, and because there's something piece on the light there, the guy actually wound up cracking the case.
All of our traffic homicide investigations are supplemented by a corporal, a traffic homicide investigator, who's in charge of the case. We just do the basic crash report and assist with the collection of evidence, and they take the case from there. Those investigations take a very long time. We also have partners at the Florida Department of Law Enforcement. They do a lot of our analysis, paint chip analysis, things like that. So huge shout out to those people. They do a great job, help us out a lot.
Jason Black wrote, it's not just intersections. And he said Highway 100 at Flagler is really bad. Yeah, I know I've covered a few out there as well. Ariana wrote, what keeps you being a trooper? That's a good question. I mean, you guys obviously do not get paid. In my personal opinion, you guys do not get paid enough for what you do, regardless of what anybody says in my book. You guys should be making $150,000 a year. Hell, we have people setting up on Capitol Hill that's making way more and doing way less. So what does keep you being a trooper?
The main thing is I don't want to be in an office all day. My office is my car. I said we got 3 different districts. I try to stay in Putnam County as much as possible. I am subject to call in St. John's and Flagler as needed. Do get to see the beaches and the interstate. We have a great health insurance program. We might not make $100,000, but we have a take-home car program. We have great health insurance, and it's just a really great place to work. Great supervisors in this area.
So it's not like okay, I'll get this. Joshua Florence says hello, Zach, and Sheila Beck Rose. Y'all be safe. I, as a resident of Putnam County, sure appreciate the time and dangerous situations you put yourself into. Yeah, it's you know, I've seen Super Troopers before. I don't know if you've ever seen that show or that movie. I've seen Super Troopers 1 and 2. So it's nothing like that, right?
Oh, no, it's not. It's all the stuff we may want to do to have a good time. We would never do that. Florida Highway Patrol is a very professional agency, and they're very big on the image and professionalism. And we get a lot of compliments on that, and we want to try and keep that coming.
Yeah, here's a picture of the Super Trooper guys. There you go. Let's see. If all those guys now, here's a question for you. This is my own personal question. You've seen the movie there. Of all those guys, which one would you say would be you? Or you're not going to say, are you?
I don't know. I've debated it. I think we've got our personalities a little bit in each one of them sometimes, so that's how they come up with the show.
Kim wrote, laugh out loud. James wrote, when the fair is not in town, where's a safe place for youth teenagers to go to have fun and not get in trouble in Putnam County? That's a pretty good one. I mean, I'm sure you guys get teens that are rowdy on Friday nights and stuff.
The cold hard fact, there's not a lot in Putnam County. It's up to you and your family to stay out of trouble. The one good program I do know of locally is the Police Athletic League. And the Sheriff's Office, I believe, puts that on. And they do a great job with the youth.
Yeah. Okay, we got some, unless you guys and gals have any more questions. And if I didn't get to your questions, I'm sorry. These things look like a ticker tape coming across here. But we got. You want to help me do some news here for like the next 15 minutes before we have to get out of here? He said it depends on what it is. Let's see.
Just pick whichever one you want to talk about.
Okay. Well, I don't think we'll do the one. I'll let him skip that one. Wait, woman with 2 wombs. Yeah, let's have him.
Hold on, wait a second. There's a comment.
It's okay. Kim wrote in. Do you guys have vests and cameras, body cams?
We don't have body cameras. Our cameras, since what we mainly do is traffic stops, that's the bulk of our job. It's in our vehicles.
Okay.
And we do wear vests. Yes.
Do you have cameras in your vehicles?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. We'll let Zach do this one, and I'll do that one. We'll have you read some news here. I'm not going to give you the other ones. This one's a pretty cool one. It comes off the AP. We'll have to put it up for you to read there, Zach. This was in Claremont, North Carolina. It's from the Associated Press. Pipe dreams turn nightmares for pit bull chasing possum. Can you see it on your side?
There we go. You want me to read the whole article?
Yeah. Yeah, you're a news person now. You're not a cop anymore. You're in here. News coming from Zach.
It don't work that way. Make sure this is a workplace appropriate here. Yeah, a pit bull intent on chasing down an opossum was foiled when he ended up wedged around 100 feet into a pipe in North Carolina. I've heard of a person getting caught before, but never a dog. Claremont Rescue Chief Eric Jones said in a Facebook post that his agency was called late Tuesday night to the scene where Rocky the dog's worried owner stood. The rescuers dug holes in different locations to try to find Rocky, eventually locating him at a junction between the cast iron and corrugated pipe. News outlets report the rescue took around 2 hours. Aided by an electronic saw, rescuers were eventually able to free the 2-foot-tall dog from the 1-foot-tall pipe. City officials say Rocky and his owner were very happy to be reunited, and Rocky was instructed his opossum chasing days were over.
I wonder who instructed him on that. Probably his owner. Let's see. Let's see. I guess I'll do. Yeah, I'll do this one. Go ahead and put that one up.
Hold on, give me 1 second.
Okay. It'll just take us a second. Usually Friday nights, so my night what's pissing me off. Yeah, just put the video up. I'll get out of this one easy. Now this is an idiot. I don't know if you've ever run anything like this before. The guy burned 1,000. Did you hear about this? The guy burned 1,000 pounds of weed in his backyard. Wasn't that in Florida?
Hold on. Let's watch the video.
Oh, Gator just joined. How you doing, Gator?
Hosting the Drug Enforcement Agency is looking for someone to burn thousands of pounds of marijuana. And yes, they are serious. The DEA is looking for the right contractor for this rather unique situation. Jessica Borg has been looking into this for us. And Jess, there are many strict requirements here.
Mia, that's right. There are very strict standards to meet. In fact, since putting the word out that they're searching for a vendor, the DEA says they've gotten lots of phone calls. For this job, though, regular citizens need not apply.
This is a very complicated, large-scale government contract that we are required by law to bid every few years.
Only a handful of companies in the region can meet DEA requirements. The contractor must be EPA certified with a facility capable of burning 1,000 pounds of pot per hour, along with other illegal street drugs, for a minimum of 8 consecutive hours per day.
We're talking bulk drugs. DEA seizes a great amount of narcotics throughout our division, Houston Division. They include marijuana, methamphetamine, heroin, and other pharmaceuticals.
Sammy Parks is a spokesman for the DEA's Houston Division. One of the requirements for the company selected to have their own closed-circuit cameras so that the DEA can make sure the drugs they've seized in cases are being properly destroyed. It's routine for this kind of evidence to be disposed of this way, and the drugs are never recycled, including for medicinal use.
These are street-level narcotics. These drugs are cut with things we don't know of, things that can harm you, not considered for medical use.
Bet you people in Putnam County would want to know where that's
the drugs
at.
will take place from now until.
So now that's a good question for you. When you guys like you do, I've seen big cocaine bust. I've seen where you guys have worked with Gators watching right now. You guys work with the sheriff's department on some busting stuff. Where does all that go to? I mean, is it like, did they destroy it, or do they, what do they do with it? Is there a certain place they send it in the United States, or how does that work?
That stays in evidence until the case is through with, and then it would eventually be destroyed.
Okay. Yeah, one I thought we were going to show was that one where the idiot down in, I think it was in Florida. He was out burning pounds of weed in his backyard, and then when the cops showed up, he's like, oh man, yeah, no, I didn't burn the good stuff. It's in my refrigerator. What's that one? Oh, those are the boats down there at. Okay.
No idea where it is.
Oh, it deleted? Okay. Well, we won't do that one then. What's the other funny one that we had? Now, yeah, here's a good one. Do you guys ever, what kind of animal things do you guys run into? Do you pick up on that, or do they leave that for sheriff's department? Like, I'm sure you get to some, get to pull somebody over and they got some rabid dogs or something in their car that's trying to attack you. How do you handle that?
Well, we work very closely with the local sheriff's office, and we get something like that, we would contact them for assistance with the animal control department.
What did Kim write on there? ID10? What does that mean? ID10T.
Okay. Don't think of the 10 as a number. Think of it as letters.
Okay, I don't know. I'm lost. I didn't get much sleep, and I've been up.
Id. E.
Okay, idiot. I got it. I fit right in on that one, didn't I? Barbara Street's joined in.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah, they got me again, damn it. Yeah, I mean, have you ever been on any calls with alligators?
I have.
You have? What was that like?
Well, usually they're gone or deceased when we deal with them.
I don't blame you. Those things are nasty. I was leaning over at Fort Gates. What was it, yesterday, Marie? 2 days ago. I was leaning over measuring the landing that's got to be fixed. And I'm out there with a tape measure, and I'm walking on this little platform, and I look down, and 4 feet from me is about a 6-foot gator. Only thing I could do is back up and hope I didn't crap my pants. Let's see. Here's one right here. We got a video on this one? It's about a police in Florida responding to an alligator call at a school bus stop.
And we love our partners at FWC.
So what do? Call them up and go, hey, I got a problem here. Look at this thing.
And if it's over a certain footage, they will come and relocate it for you.
Have you ever found an alligator in somebody's car?
I have not, but that would have made the funny story portion if I had.
If you ever do, I want exclusive on that, Zach. That would be funny. Have you ever, I mean, like busted somebody with like exotic animals like a snake or, been attacked by a parrot or anything?
No, but I did have a gentleman who wanted to get in my car with a snake. his vehicle was disabled on the bridge. I made him ride with the tow truck.
Yeah, come on. You didn't give him a ride? I don't blame you. I don't care too much for snakes. Frank joined in. Lathrop. Let's see. Okay, which other one? Because we only have a couple minutes left here. Zach's like, thank God, man, get me out of here. No, let's not. Let's not do that one. I got to go easy on Zach. I'll wait till he comes in the next time. What does it say? Drunk man sprayed axe. Yeah, now this is a good question here. This drunk guy sprayed Axe body spray in his mouth to cover the beer smell during a traffic stop. Do you ever? That's got to be something you run into. I mean, do you ever have people that try to cover up the smell when they're getting over? I mean, like biting an onion. I had one guy that was throwing up one time that I pulled over behind. I think it was Kenny Roberts of the sheriff's department. I can't remember. It might have been Kenny, but he was trying to eat a big onion because he was trying to cover up the alcohol smell on his breath.
There's a lot of people that try to use either perfume or chain smoking, cologne, anything they can to try and mask the spray of it, but you're usually giving off other indicators at that point.
Yeah, especially if you don't drink or if you haven't been drinking. You can smell that. I smell it in people. And they get some of these idiots that walk in the store. I've been behind them in the kangaroos and stuff. They walk in. We need to get a blunt wrapper or what do they call them? White owl or a cigar thing. And they don't think they smell a pot, but you can smell the pot. You can smell the alcohol on them. Okay, here's a good question for you. Becky wrote, how do you handle arriving on scene when small children are involved?
Well, it's more I think where a question is more the aftermath where it bothers you. When we get on scene, the training and everything kicks in. You check on injuries first, and making the scene secure and getting to work.
I mean, but how does that affect you? I know how it affects me. I woke up just going out to where there's been wrecks with the sheriff's department or firefighters have been there at first, and a lot of times I'll get there first because I hear it right on the thing, and I don't know why, but sometimes I've been there when 4 train wrecks have happened before the cops ever got there, and some of the things that I've seen, I know I'll sit up in the middle of the night, and it's like I don't want to see them, especially when there's kids involved. But that's got to weigh heavy on you too. You know, where I can stop and not go out and do it if I hear a call come in. You can't do that, especially when you already know when you're on the way to the scene there that they're giving you details. You know, hey, there's a child involved. That's got to weigh pretty heavy on you. She said emotionally afterwards.
Well, you try to not think about it. Hopefully you have a good release, hobbies, family, all that helps you deal with it. Some people also have their respective religious affiliations. We also have a chaplain with the Florida Highway Patrol chaplain flag. He's been a great resource to us, help us through things.
Yeah, I was going to say you'd have to have, and people say, I could handle it. No, you couldn't.
Florida Highway Patrol also has a member assistance program, the MAP program. That's another great resource available to troopers that nobody has to know, and they help you out with things. So for anybody who's thinking of getting hired, there's plenty of resources out there to help you out.
Yeah, I would hope so, because like on a lot of stuff, you guys can't, there's all this stuff, a lot of it, 99.99% of it's probably confidential. You can't just go home and tell your wife, and you probably wouldn't want to either, you know, but, you know, and how does that affect your wife? I mean, as far as when you leave every morning, that's got to weigh on her pretty heavily too, that, you know, because you see so many officers that are shot now and killed in car wrecks. That's got to weigh in heavy on her as well too, right?
That does. She always tells me, be safe before I walk out the door every day. But as far as the other part, she worked for fire EMS in Putnam County for many years, so she knows what the job's like.
Yeah. We had a question that said, is it true that there's high suicide rates in first responders and officers like yourself?
Well, the stats are the stats that they put out on the news.
Yeah. Vanessa Shaw just joined
It is a
in.
thing.
Okay, we'll do one more funny news, and then I'll let you get out of here. Wait, what was that one up there by the cops right here? And here's one, Zach. Have you ever gotten a question like this before? A Florida homeless man calls cops to report he paid for sex but got scammed, police say. Florida cops say a man called 911 to report a crime. We got his picture, right? Oh, this guy's a real winner. Florida cops say a man who called 911 to report a crime appeared to forgot he was admitting to one himself. John Siegel, 50, was arrested after he allegedly volunteered to police that he had paid 4 people $500 for at least one of them to come to his Days Inn hotel room to engage in sexual activity. WPTV reported. Yeah, I got to give them a credit. Siegel, who is reportedly homeless, called. Wait, how does he have $500 if he's homeless? Maybe that's why he has $500. Called 911 on March 22nd after police said he had paid. He paid, never showed up at his West Palm Beach hotel room, officials said. An officer arrived at the hotel where Siegel explained the situation, confirmed he was soliciting another person for sex. WPTV reported. He said he decided to call police when he realized he had been scammed. What an idiot.
You do not have to deal with that at the Highway Patrol.
Yeah. Our friends over at the Sheriff's Department. I love our local Sheriff's Department. I've never met one of them I didn't like, but they get some real doozers in there. Crescent City Fire Department Station, back the blue. They just want you to know that they back you.
Oh, they do. We're grateful for them and Sheriff DeLoach, Sheriff's Office, Chief Shaw, the Pike Police Department, and the Crescent City Police Department. Always out there to help us out, decompress, talk to the guys. They're a great group of people, and we really appreciate them and their help on their investigations.
Terry Beverly wrote in and said, is it true that FHP are the only ones to handle a fatality, or is the county allowed to handle the situation without FHP?
So Florida Highway Patrol has a very large traffic homicide program. The only one in this area that has a small one would be St. Johns County in our district. But we do the majority of them. We have the resources and everything available to take care of business.
Vanessa Shaw wrote in and said, my mother is a dispatcher for Putman now for 31 years. Tell her we said thank you for her service, Vanessa, if she's not listening in. Yeah, the Sheriff's Department, they get some crazy calls. I mean, I hear them coming through the police scanner all the time. And we had Joe Wells in here. It was just shortly after, I don't know if you saw the guy who went into the Sheriff's Department and turned in his meth. He wanted to make sure, he wanted the Sheriff's Department to test it to see, because he thought he got ripped off from his dealer, and he wanted to make sure that this stuff was actually meth. And Joe told him, yeah, we took care of him. We're nice people over there. We put him up for the week and, gave him a nice room to stay in and 3 meals, and anybody else that wants to bring their drugs in to get them tested. Okay, well, I think that's it. We're out of time. But I want to thank you for coming in, Zach. It's
Thank
always
you
a privilege
for
to
having me.
see you, and I respect you, and we love you here at the Putman Way and IITW Radio, and thank you so much for your service.
Thank you, and y'all don't forget, beatrooper.com.
Okay. Yep, we'll put it up, man. People, if you want to go back and see the whole interview with Zach, some of you joined in late. I see Doug joined in late. You can go back and check it out on YouTube at the Putman Way, or you can go back and check it out on Facebook on the Putman Way or IITW Radio, or you can check it out on YouTube for IITW Radio. Or you can just come back here and see us again Monday night, because we'll be back here on Monday, and we're going to do the thing with Fort Gates Ferry. I want to thank you again, Zach, for coming in. As always, I love seeing this guy out on the streets, and be safe, brother. Okay, we got to get out of here. Remember, when you see one of your veterans whether they're an elderly veteran or if you see a young man in uniform, walk up and thank them for their service. When you see an officer of Florida Highway Patrol, walk up and don't tell your kids if you don't behave, I'm going to have them arrest you. Do not instill that fear into little kids' life. Go ahead, because all that does is it carries with them throughout their whole life. Tell them to go up and respect the officers, and go up and hell, the cops will flip on their sirens for you. I'm sure Zach will do it. He'll let them see the inside of their car, but have the little kids learn to respect the officers and not be afraid of them. That's one thing that's really wrong with our society these days. When you see your first responders out, Sheila wrote, when is Gator coming in? I don't know. Gator, when are you coming in? Hopefully he'll call me and we'll get Gator in here. We've already had Joe Wells in here. Now, when you see your first responders, especially our volunteer firefighters and stuff, walk up and thank these men and women, and the men and women in uniform. Walk up and tell them thank you. It only takes a couple seconds. All right, guys and gals, I got to get out of here. We love you. We'll see you back here Monday night. I've got the whole Fort Gates thing, and I'll fill you in on what's going on with the barge and stuff. Hey, Richie, you joined in late. You're going to have to go back and catch it on IITW Radio on Facebook, or the Putman Way on Facebook, or IITW Radio on YouTube. We're out. Good night. We love you. And listen to the music of who do we got tonight? Closing it out. We have Andrew Cheston. Take Me Back Home. And I got to give my shout outs to Mama B, Annette, Audrey, Mr. Steve, Mama B, Miss Debbie, and thank you to all the people here at Putman Way. Make sure you check out the advertisers scrolling on the bottom of the screen. They're the ones that make it possible every night. Keep it local. We're out.
Keeping food on the table for his family every day, saying take me back home where my heart is. Take me back home where my heart is. Take me back home where my heart is. Yeah, take me back home. Take me back home. Been dodging them bullets for over 3 years in Iraq. Over there the sun and the devil don't let up off your back. He keeps a picture in his hat. He prays to God at night, saying, Lord, get me back home, back to my sweet wife. Lord, take me back home where my heart is. Take me back home where my heart is. Take me back home where my heart is. Lord, take me back home. Take me back home. Another night in a smoky bar, playing for tips. It's a hell of a life on the road, can make a man wanna up and quit. It's nights like these that I wonder what I'm doing here, chasing down this neon dream, wasting so many years, saying take me back home where my heart is. Take me back home where my heart is. Take me back home where my heart is. Yeah, take me back home. Take me back home. take